All right, so I have a lightning talk tonight at the AIMUG meetup. Some legit builders, Lane Graph and Lane Chain meetup group. My buddy Colin McNamara was kind enough to have me come speak. So I wanted to just kind of run through this right now to practice and get a recording done. Um, I might add to this and make like a full talk out of it, but this is going to last like 10-15 minutes maybe. And so let's see if they've updated it. I'm waiting for an update. Let's see if they switch it for me. I just switched the tagline to say building AI runtimes on Cloudflare. That's pretty much what it is. Anyways, let me just run through it. Store work, export. Boom. So I have receipts, 68 deployed, and that's off of this guy right here. I've got guides for many of these concepts and ideas that I've been kind of toying around with. Some of them are projects, and some of them are just topics that I'm using inside of different projects that are in my repos. So um, at this point, my count on projects is around 200, and I've got a couple products and apps that are being included here. I don't know why this is here. Okay, well, at least the data is redacted here. That's good. So this is like GTM auto research stuff that I'm doing. Pretty happy about that. And then I got some branded stuff and landing pages, and then I've got some presentations. So these guides is really where it's at. I was able to kind of put together all this stuff like simple, agentically. So you're not an AI engineer until you understand these. Then we've got different topics here: RAG, KV cache, context window, obvious, tuning, optimization, LoRa, quantization, the basics. So this is like great for anyone who's just learning or newer to agentic coding and wanting to um, get that done. So I've got a whole guide on Symphony, which is Codex's orchestration tool they just came out with. It ties into uh, Linear as well, and then it goes to the official repo. I've got a spec that it goes to, the official spec from OpenAI. Oops, clicked it twice. We got wikis for all these. So those wikis are upgradable, obviously, but LLM wikis, think Carpathy, and that's kind of the direction I wanted to go with this, anyways. But yeah, we got that, and then we go over. We've got harness engineering, uh, talked about there. We've got organized code base, my official template. So all this stuff is near and dear to my heart, I would say. And yeah, even some of this newer stuff, like this org model OS, where I'm using the entire system based on this talk that um, Dorsey gave recently, talking about how he's thinking about org charts moving forward. And then we go into Symphony on Cloudflare and what that looks like, workflow execution, the loop. What does the signal loop look like? Where does it live? How do we push it over to linear? And then we have an agent that goes and grabs it and runs it back. Different roles that people play. We got this is straight from the white paper as well. So all this is interesting. This is what's the most interesting part is Cloudflare suite and the stack. Um, how it makes things happen here. We got D1 schema set up, the whole bit. So I'm really, really excited about this, and kind of showing this off. So let's just jump in a little bit. So we've got all this happening. Anytime I ask, the skill is set such that anytime I'm pondering um, a new feature, a new code base, a talk, I can grab a link, say, hey, I need a guide and I need a wiki and architecture maybe for this thing, and it'll be built out. Um, and that's pretty cool because it doesn't take multiple prompts, it doesn't take a whole bunch of back and forth. It's just a quick thing. And I'm going to show you through the code base how I do this, and hopefully you'll be able to leave and have that capability as well. Cloudflare, a couple different bets that I'm really digging in on this. Ephemeral workers, so being able to spin up a dynamic worker that goes, does what it needs to, and then disappears. And that's been pretty cool to make it disposable. I built this thing Duraclaw with my buddy Ben Freed. I'll have a link to that product or project as well, so I can check that out. But we have a runtime that we built for Duraclaw that allows us to get a lot of the planning done in a very specific way. So Duraclaw is very, very robust and useful for specifically running workers. Um, in the cloud, getting things done and disappearing. So ephemeral workers, and then we got auto docs on workers assets. So instead of pages, I've moved over to worker assets, and now everything that you just saw in the hub lives on an asset instead of a page. And this happens automatically. Again, you just have to ask for it and it'll happen um, before the project even starts. Clawbox desktop control plane. This is pretty interesting because Clawbox looks like this. You guys might have heard of this already from Gradient. You can get your souls, your skills, your tasks, all your plugins, and then I provide my API key and get everything set up based on what I choose. And this one's asking for a new API key. That's interesting. Huh. I'll do that later, but yep, basically every single time that I need OpenClaw, um, I can have it live inside of this container for the project. And so that opens up the door for um, containerized OpenClaw per project basis instead of having one and hoping that it can work cross project within context. I spin this up automatically and give it context. Yes, it is a bit of a pain to get everything set up and working properly, but the beauty is we're setting up an entire project rather than just hoping that OpenClaw is the savior of do it all Swiss Army knife type of tool. And it's very valuable. I love OpenClaw, but using it in the context of a broader project, um, or a narrow project is probably the play here, and that's what I'm betting on. And then lastly, ACP. So something that kind of flew under the radar, but ACP allows you to have agent interaction, and one agent talks to the other, and it's a protocol that is worth considering for that. Okay, so this is a slide talking about the worker life cycle. We have a trigger. It's either a queue or a cron or HTTP request, and that'll spin up the worker. The worker reads a database. It emits an output to a queue. That queue, uh, the worker then picks up whatever's available in the queue, and then the outcome is logged and then it vanishes, scales to 0. One task per worker, stateless by default. So KVD1R2 allows that. Workers are pure functions over that state. Um, and then lastly, ULID. So same output, save retry, outcome is keyed. And that's there. Okay, so a couple more things. OpenClaw Gateway. I've got this presentation coming up next Thursday at HiCam, and I'm really excited about it. But one of the things that I've been struggling with is, okay, if I'm going to be giving a workshop on OpenClaw, I can assume that everybody has their own OpenClaw installed. I can help them get everything set up, which can be, a bit of a struggle depending on people's hardware and, the different steps they take and how they set it up. Or I can host it for them and have them all to connect through a single gateway in a clean way that allows them to have their data separated, saved, and allows them to export their data whenever they're ready for that. So I built it and I did it through Cloudflare. So I'm really excited to launch that. It's going to be a live experiment. Obviously, I'll test it before the event, but um, largely live experiment. We got workers, CFQ with the delivery, and then the durable objects for personalized state and per user instance. So I'm really excited about that and getting that launched. That's going to be cool if it works. I think it will. Each layer owns one job. And so this is one of the things I thought deeply about on the gateway piece. I went back and forth on it, realizing that, okay, if I have this worker called organized gateway, everything's organized, it's organized AI, right? And it's going to store phone number connects to user ID through KV. And then the CFQ is any message that comes through the gateway. Consumer worker is then goes over to the user durable object, and then it bounces over to the OpenClaw instance. And so, yeah, this could turn into a big traffic jam if I had a ton of people on there. I said 50 earlier, but I think it's going to be more like 20 people that'll show up and want to participate in this way. We'll see how that goes, but I'm thinking with this first group, it'll be a smaller group, and I know how events go, so we have 50 people say they're going to come, probably 20 show up, which is about right. And then we have a chance to run this experiment and troubleshoot it in real time. So Q owns the delivery. I made a hybrid system for this. I could have made it so that um, the uh, not the Q, but the I'll have to look at it to remember what my alternative to using a Q was. Let's look real quick. Let's look. That's why we're on this instead of doing it live right now. It's going to be like somewhere in here. It's this one. How long ago was this? Can't even tell, man. And I typed about it earlier, so this is good. Let's push the project to Git first. OpenClaw Gateway. Yep, okay. Yeah, okay. That's token routing. let's see. I think I'm using CFQ and durable objects. Yeah, CFQ and durable objects. I like the built-in retries of Qs in the CFQ in the persistent state of the durable object. So that allowed me ultimately to then do the export. So that's why I did it that way. Cool. That's good to know. So I'm doing Qs for retries and then DO for persistent state. And that's huge because that persistent state allows me to then get access to the export through R2. Three verbs, one stack. Okay. We got a worker. And when I say export, that means like anytime I build something through this, I've got it wired up so that I can also just push it over. So this is like the boilerplate, the template. No matter what I'm building, I build with this. So kind of like how organized code base was the very first way I was running every project plan through, whether I was using Ralph, GSD, superpowers, or um, the Boris method, Boris Cherney's method. Um, it's just a process or a methodology. After that methodology is done, after you finish, you can connect to vanity router. So that was, in my case, it's guide, wiki, arc, or arch rather, or app or talk. Um, and then pushing over here, deployment index through D1. KV is the worker name and the slug, and then the worker assets. So whatever that might be. And the work itself happens this in this one and that. So what I'm really excited about is being able to store everything in a OpenClaw related agent, because ultimately OpenClaw gateways are really powerful. One of the biggest issues and misunderstandings, I think, is around agent orchestration just for OpenClaw. So yes, you can make things happen and still, uh, have a swarm of agents that are doing different things. The problem with that, in my opinion, is understanding each and every agent, paying tokens on each and every agent's output, and then uh, logging and understanding the work that each one has done. Through Cloudflare, we solve the the actual working portion with logs, with a way to push to linear and have outcomes, and ultimately some kind of a loop. It's kind of ripe for uh, a loop for research and improvement, self improvement. All right, three URLs. These are the things I'm providing here. So we got the hub. I already showed you this. Art for Cloudflare Arch. So this is where the original idea for me came from, this one. And this is probably one of the best ones outside of DuraClaw. I've even got a comparison there. Then I've got this gateway, and this is like the graduated version that you're seeing right now. And it kind of looks like this. This is specific to using the store methods that Cloudflare has available to us. And so the next piece would be, okay, this is great. What happens whenever I have teammates and I need to collaborate on a project, collaborate across agents, um, and also be able to log and understand what each is doing. So that's where the storage really starts to shine and makes the biggest difference versus how people are running, OpenClaw right now. Um, so yeah, I think that's it. And lastly, this is where you can scan away. The blue one is LinkedIn. The green one is my OpenClaw hackathon and WhatsApp group. And then I've got a plugin marketplace and the main website. So feel free. All right, thanks. Cool. Came in at 20 minutes. Pretty good. Instead of plugin marketplace, I could go Luma calendar. Let's go Luma calendar. I don't know what this is going to go to. I wonder where I'm scanning this to though. That's really frustrating. Let's go. Yeah, I don't even think I'm saving it anywhere right now. Still organized AI. Because if I save to organized AI, that shit ain't gonna save. Because I don't have iCloud on here anymore. Let's see. Let's go to desktop. Yes, it worked. Cool. All right, so all right, so yeah, that's about it, man. I'm going to um okay, let's check the because now it's saying that it did it, but I don't trust it. That's the last page. Okay, now it says at the top here, billing agent runtimes on Cloudflare. Okay. I don't know why it did that. Building agent runtimes, yeah. Okay. So that's what we're for the open ball piece. All right. So let's do this. So then I'm gonna go desktop, this one. On the last slide, replace the plugin. Marketplace QR code. This one. Then calendar. So I can do that, and then I'll do LinkedIn there. Um, WhatsApp group is fine, and then we'll do organized AI is fine. Go to the site. Yeah, it's fine. All right, I'm gonna go through it one more time, and then I gotta drive over. Store work, export. Hey guys, Jordan Hill here. I'm going to tell you about how I store work and export. So, essentially, I'm building agent runtimes on Cloudflare, and I'm going to explain what that even looks like and what that means. For me, I recently started, building and realizing that Cloudflare had a lot of really interesting ways to use workers in the Wrangler CLI in order to do different things. And per usual, I started experimenting and found that I could not only store information and solve one of the persistent memory problems that I was having, but also I could queue up and uh, get through task lists using Cloudflare. And I have plans of also connecting uh, Symphony and Linear and some of these other things, obviously. But just wanted to talk through this. So start with the receipts. I have about 68 different deployments on my overall hub. So I've got guides, I've got a vanity router, and it automatically deploys every single time that I make one of these little feature sets. And it kind of looks like this: Symphony, Cloud Code plugin, CC, that type of thing. And so I have a concept where I say, okay, what do I want to talk through? What do I want to learn about? And then how does it fit into the projects I have? And it builds entire guides and ideas and ways that it connects to the project, and it's nice and neat and good bedtime story material. So I use it for that. So I'm gonna get rid of those two. I'll get rid of this. Okay, cool. And then I don't think I need that one either, or that one. All right. So that's from going to hub.organizedai.vip. You can see I have guides, I got LLM wikis, I've got architecture, and all this stuff is happening and it's ready to go. From how I'm looking at OpenClaw to how I'm looking at predictive markets and setting that up. That one broke. Okay, these all broke. That's fine. All right, let's not click on that one. Auto research over to linear. This is fun and interesting. I'm playing around with auto research quite a bit, specifically around Google Tag Manager. That's what GTM means in my world. And so there's that. Stripe, Agentic, just figuring out how that's going to look and building. I built a local project for this already that uses, has a full blown like mock Shopify store and everything. So just figuring out how it works and wiring it up quickly is has been huge for me. Um, okay, so there's four bets. Ephemeral workers spin up, spin down quickly. Poof, they're gone. No cleanup debt. That's huge for me as a vibe coder. Number two is auto docs on worker assets. So being able to quickly say, hey, I need a guide to wiki, or I need a full suite of docs. It'll make a guide to wiki architecture, and you know, I can probably also make it have make a talk out of it, or a an app or whatever. Just depends on what I ask for. Clawbox is integrated in, so this allows me to have a desktop control plane for anything I'm doing around OpenClaw. That's what that's for. And then ACP allows me to have agents talk to each other. Primarily, how I'm looking at this and attempting to use it is Hermes agent talks to OpenClaw agent does all the work. Even if it's not directly doing the work, it'll do all the calling of the Cloudflare workers that spin up and do the thing, and then they're out of there. Or I could just have Hermes do it. But ACP allows me to make sure that agents can talk to each other. Okay, so here's the worker life cycle: input, transform, output, exit. It's that simple. I trigger it some kind of way, either through a queue of tasks. So think that's similar to how linear works, but we would be doing this through Cloudflare queue, a cron job, or HTTP requests, which is really, really valuable. So I hit an API and a worker spins up, goes over, hydrates the context through KVD1, just the reading, and then it emits the queue and outputs. The worker picks up from the queue, logs any work that it does to the log outcome, and then vanishes. So it's pretty tidy and should work well based on how I've built it here. One task per worker, keeping it super simple, and also auditable and loggable and all the bulls. And then stateless by default. All state is in the KVD1 or R2, and workers are pure functions over that state. That's it. That's all they do is they serve a purpose and they're out of there. Um, ULID and IDM potent, IDM potent. I don't know. I don't know what that is. But you know, it's on the slide. So running the same ID and same output. Yep, safe to retry. So we can retry quickly and easily is what that tells me. Hopefully. Okay, this is the real reason I even built this in this way was I started experimenting with an OpenClaw gateway. So as you know, gateway is the magic part of the big part of the magic for OpenClaw. And I was like, okay, I'm about to have this workshop and I don't want everybody to have to spin up their own. Let's have a challenge and I'm going to try to host everybody's requests, especially because they're brand new and they're just trying to learn. Um, how to use OpenClaw, and I want to make sure that that's as easy as possible. How do I do it? Well, short answer is I have to host it and make it so that they can still walk away. Say they, all right, I'm ready to go self-host. You know, hopefully by the end of the workshop, they'll be ready to help self-host, and they can take all the information, all the setup they've done, agents MD, Soul MD, tools, personality for the agent, any logs, any crucial information like API keys and stuff, because it is BYOK. So they should be able to take all that with them, export it, and then import it into wherever they're hosting with their information that I've never seen. I don't need to see, and then they're able to keep moving. So I think thinking from the lens of how do I set this up for a business? How do I help a small team do this? one that's not going to, not super technical and not going to try to hack each other. Okay, I can store a lot of this in Cloudflare and allow them to still get the benefit of using and playing and understanding what's happening across teams and through sessions, monitoring, logging, and then self-improving eventually because all those things are captured. So I want to make sure that there's an easy way to capture data for us to then use that data later to make that person's experience better. So organized gateway is the worker that I'm calling it, and it's basically doing that same loop that I talked about earlier for the worker life cycle. So we hydrate, we store phone number, and that phone number equals their user ID. We have their organized, uh, not organized code base. OC is uh, the gateway worker, OC messages. Um, and then they it turns into a consumer worker. That worker goes into the user DO and then it hits ClawMac Mini. Now, gateway wise, we hit D1 here, and that database then can export the signed URL and hit the WhatsApp group or the WhatsApp individual phone number. And that's kind of how it flows through from a reply. It looks like that. So boom, it goes around. DO is really, the central piece. It kind of everything else spins from. Uh, Q owns the delivery, so this also does all the retries and that fun stuff. DO owns state. D1 owns the records, and then R2 owns export. So this is specifically set up so that people can export easily. Three verbs, one stack. So this goes through store, work, and export. And all these Cloudflare components deal with work and store heavily. And just by virtue of how I set this up, it's the export has a vanity router so that it's all organized whenever it lands in the hub itself. No Kubernetes, no service mesh, no orchestration glue, three verbs, name the layers, and just one Wrangler tunnel. Ships each one, solo operator economics. That's me. And then three URLs, all live, all yours to read. Take a look. There's architecture. I've already clicked on that one and this one. The application workshop infra. If you're a solo operator, this might be good. If you're shipping a platform, kind of use this framework. And then if you are running workshops, I think this is a really cool framework to think about. How do I spin up quick examples that are hands-on for people? And then if I wanted to extend that homework, how do I push it further so that they can go host it on their own and without losing anything? So there's that. I'm going to refresh this. Yep, event calendar's here, and it looks like that. And then, yeah, just tap in with me if you would like to. Um, this is pretty much it. This should say 69 on page slide 2 should say 69. All right. Awesome. All right. So I'm getting out of here, man. I think that's going to be it for me. Appreciate you guys listening.